Welcome back to Taking Off with Mike and Jen. We finished up with Paul and Desiree, and we started having a chat. So we thought that we would open this can of worms back up, and we're going to talk about porn today, which is just right after we just spoke with them about all the other subjects. So we're just going to have a little round table here, and we're going to talk about it because I think it's a big thing that is in society now, as everybody knows. It's in the secular world, it's in the Christian world, it's everywhere. It is a huge part of the lives of people, of marriages, of relationships, and so forth.
I sort of equate it, as awful as this is, to you feel like everybody knows somebody within the family usually that has cancer, right? I feel like that's what porn and sexual immorality, that has kind of turned into that. I feel like somebody is touched by it. And we're going to focus more on the Christian world because we know in the secular world, it's extremely permissible. And it's bled into the Christian world. And there's a lot of people who've been married a long time, newly marrieds, that are dealing with this. And as a young bride, let's just say, if your young husband is dealing with this, that's got to mess your mind up just quite a bit, I think. So, yeah, we asked them to stay a little bit longer so we can just unpack this a little bit.
So that is a good analogy, I think, cancer. Because what happens when cancer goes away, it's really in a remission. It can come back.
Right.
So I would say for those who are like myself, I'd say I'm in remission.
Right.
In a remission for a long time. But there's always that fear that it's going to come back.
Right.
There's always that draw to
That's
it.
true. That's true. And we really want to talk with Paul and Des about this, but once we do, it's probably going to stay on them. And so I, as a woman, just want to open up a little bit. I've not had a porn addiction, but when Michael and I were going through just, some of the toughest parts of our marriage, and I felt like I wasn't enough or worthy or pretty enough or all the things that go through a woman's mind. And I would see him, and he's always been really good about not staring at girls and staring at posters for too long or closing his eyes if he sees something.
Right.
But if I just even remotely just saw a little glance, because he's human and God made beautiful things and he looked, I instantly thought, I'm not enough. I'm not enough. And so then, I'd be on these layovers or whatever. And we didn't talk a lot about is it okay to watch porn? Because we're married. Let's watch it. Spice up our sex life in marriage, right? That's sort of the lie.
Right.
And I would say, like with any of these kind of stupid sins, I would have more of a bent towards them than he would. So we're a little bit flipped that way.
Yeah.
But it got to the point where I would have to be honest with him because it felt so dirty. And as a woman, in general, mostly men have the problem. But ladies, I'll have you know, I struggled with it a little bit for sure because my reasons were maybe not the same as why a guy does, but I did. And it was to get acceptance from him and, all the things that come with that. And so, if you're a woman out there that plays with it a little bit or thinks, oh, if I watch this and I do that or I dress like this or act like this, then my husband's going to not do that. That's a lie. That's not true. It's just a way for you to get sucked in some more. And this was years ago, but, honestly, sometimes now if I go on layovers, because you go to Europe, it's on. It's you have to be careful. Like Michael says, how it's like a cancer, it sneaks back in. I'll be changing the channels and I'll see a snip. And I literally sometimes, if I'm in a weaker state, fight myself to not stay on that channel. Just 5 minutes, just 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And I just have to keep going. And it's not an issue anymore, but it, just like any other sin that has been in my head, it will creep back in. And now we're at a marriage and at a point where I can be fully vulnerable and honest with him and say, honey, I don't know why I'm drawn to this, that kind of thing. So anyway, I don't want to go on about me, but just if you're a woman, talk to somebody about it. Be open about it. Don't hide it. Do not hide it in the dark. As with any sin we've talked about, the enemy lives in the dark and he will whisper and he will make you feel guilty and shame and embarrassed because you think there's no other Christian person, girl, that deals with this. Oh, I'll have you know there is, and don't be embarrassed about it. So that's my hot.
There's there's not a bigger stigma probably in the Christian world than pornography.
Right.
There just isn't. It's like you can say, I've done this, I've struggled with this, I was a druggie and now I'm not. But man, you bring up porn and it's just immediate, like you literally have leprosy.
Yeah.
And that itself is going to induce hiding.
Right.
And as you said in our previous, if you don't bring things into the light, then there's never going to be repair. And that's why we really wanted to kind of continue and have this next flight that we call it and talk about this, because if it can help one person to just seek, you know what, I'm gonna just talk to somebody. Just gonna open up this hidden world I'm in and talk to somebody, even as a start, even if it's my friend, even if it's whatever. Yeah. Maybe it's a long, long, long way to go, but it's just a crack in the door that says, I want to be honest with somebody that this is a struggle that I have. Because I think I will, and it's hard to say, I'll struggle with porn to the day I live. Like, what's wrong with you? That's the voice in my head.
Die?
Whatever I said. Die? Dead?
Right? Did he say that
Till
wrong?
the day I died?
Till the day I died.
He's saying a Jenniferism.
Yeah. So, but it's, I think that will be the case with probably most men. Maybe you can agree with this or not disagree. It's just God made us sexual. He made us want it. And then there's some emotional aspects to pornography that I want to talk about too, on why I think it's so powerful and why it's a draw for a guy. Right. Which I do want to get into. But the overall shell of why we're talking about this and why I want to bring it up is because people don't. Right. That's why. Because it's like, oh, we can talk about this, but let's not put it out in the public. Right. It's too sensitive to put it in the public. Right. Like, what do you mean? You've been married for 33 years and you struggle with porn and you're married to a beautiful woman? Like, how's that the case? If I was married to a beautiful woman, I wouldn't be. That's not the case at all. I talk to people like, never struggled with porn until I got married. What? Like, these are people who were virgins. They never struggled with porn. They get married. Now they're having sex like crazy, and now porn is coming to their life. What's that about? Does not make sense, right? Yeah, no. But yet, it happens day in and day out with everybody. Right. And you could have grown up. I remember when I saw porn for the first time, I was probably 6 years old, and I saw Playboy in the just riding my bike down the road, and I saw Playboy. Like, holy smokes, I'm 5. Yeah. What's that? A naked girl? Why do I like naked girls when I'm 5 years old? Right. What's up with that? Right. It looks good. It's pretty. You know?
That's how God made
Why is she looking at me like that? Right. What's that look?
Yeah. Yeah. And if I move over here, she's still looking at me like that.
So yeah, and then you go through puberty, and then there's a whole nother aspect to the physical aspect of what that porn does to your head and your mind and so forth. And then when you talk about baggage and you talk about, well, how was I raised? How was I raised from my mom? How did my mom treat me? Did I have sisters? Did I feel loved? Did I feel cherished? Was my mom affectionate with me? Was she not affectionate with me? Did I have to have good behavior in order to have affection? You know what I mean? There's just so much to why we...
Many different reasons.
Yeah. There really is. But it's still something that is in our minds. And so that baggage per se that I just talked about, it can be the same way with our wives. It's like, well, how does Jennifer treat me? How does she look at me? Is there expectations? Because with porn, there's no expectations, right?
Right.
To me, this goes back, and I've always said it goes back to the fall. The original fall, the original sin. What was the result of the original sin that happened to Eve? most people say there's going to be childbirth pains, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then what does it say right after the childbirth pains?
Like you'll desire your husband.
And he will rule over you.
Yeah.
Now that is a curse because that was part of the curse. Childbirthing pains.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then you will desire your husband and he will rule over you. Well, holy smokes, you could unpack that for a couple hours, right?
Right.
But there's a leadership aspect there, right? There's a
Right.
leadership aspect. God over Jesus. But yet they're the same. It's the Trinity.
Right.
But there's still Jesus will sit at the right hand of God.
Right.
He's not in the big chair. He's in the right hand of
Right.
God. So there's a leadership. Generals, colonels, husbands, wives, big brothers, little brothers, et cetera, et cetera. It goes on and on and on. And leadership, it's a curse, right? You don't want to follow. That's not that's not the desire is to just, I will follow.
Yeah,
and so if it's a curse and you say, well, how does that have anything to do with porn?
Wow.
Men want to lead and they want women to follow them. So what does porn do? Oh, I'm in total charge. I'm in charge. I'm the man.
Yeah.
And she does whatever I want her to do. Well, that's not the world that we live in.
Yeah.
That's not the natural way. And you wouldn't want that in your marriage, that I'm just the man, I'm in charge, she does whatever. But there's that carnal desire to be in charge, to lead. But that's not what happened with the fall. If Adam and Eve were at the apple tree or whatever you want to call it, and he's just standing there and she eats the apple first, he didn't lead.
The fruit, babe, the fruit. We don't know it's an apple.
That's right.
Don't
Probably a
mislead
pomegranate.
people. I say pomegranate.
But
I know.
But the point is, that's what I think that we're dealing with when it
Yeah.
comes to porn is that it's a fantasy world. It's if the
It is.
girls want to watch Hallmark because the man is just this perfect picture of how it should be and he treats me this way and he opens my door and it goes on and on and on. The perfect world for a man carnally is I have this hot wife or hot girl. She does what I say when she says and she comes after me and it's this fantasy world.
Right.
And that's what the pull is. That's what the appeal is. And it doesn't
So
even
I also think that an appeal is that from my perception is there's a emotional connection when you're intimate with your spouse, and that part of a marriage takes cultivating and work and care and time that you can omit that.
Yep.
right.
You can be in this world with pornography and
No
not
attachment.
have to
Right.
work for it. You don't have to prep the crock pot. You don't have to
Right.
anything. You
Right.
can
Sit
just
and listen to any
you don't have to hear anybody
conversation
talk.
for 3
You don't have to
hours,
hear, you don't have to anything.
There's
you have
no foreplay.
No nothing.
Right.
Well, it's instantaneous gratification.
Yeah.
So
And that's not
You're right. Which is
the
not
way it
good.
is with anything, right?
Right.
But
It's
not
that's the
reality.
fantasy world
Right.
of what the pull is partly that as well.
So we thank Paul and Des again because Paul's going to share a little bit of what we're talking about here.
Right, yeah.
And we appreciate your openness and willingness to do it
Right.
for
Okay.
everybody, honestly.
Well, my story is a lot different than most of the people I know or that I've heard, or at least that they've opened up. So I was exposed to pornography at an early age, which I think happens to 99% of
Sure.
males. Well, I will say this, dealing with it today is a lot different than when I was a kid, because it's almost like if you're an alcoholic, now you're being brought up in a liquor store versus when I was a kid, you had to go to the liquor store to get your alcohol. So there's a huge difference that I'm having to navigate and learn as an adult or as a father
Of three boys.
Of three boys, how to navigate that, because the rules aren't the same as they were when I was a kid.
Sure.
It's in your face.
It's
every day.
yeah. You're being brought up, like I said, in the liquor store. Like you know
You
what
live
I mean?
there. You
live
live in
there.
it.
You live in the liquor store as an alcoholic. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very strange,
Great
and I'm still
analogy.
learning. I'm still learning the process of learning how to navigate it myself, and also help my family or
Yeah.
my kids or because it's very challenging. So setting that precedent is that I don't have it really figured out. I don't really know. I know the things I did that worked for me, but it doesn't necessarily mean it translates the exact same things of today because, like I said, it was harder to get. So that's why I say I'm having to navigate it. But so for me, being exposed to it at an early age, you had to really go out of your way to get to it. But we did as kids, and there would be times when, it was kind of a cool thing for dads to have a stack of Playboy magazines, or I forget the other one. There was
Hustler.
another one. Well, I don't think that was it, but
Penthouse.
Penthouse.
That's what it was. And dads always had their stack. Well, you wanted to go over to your friend's house who dads had those stacks, and you would try to. Dads had all sorts of ways of hiding it. So anyway, it wasn't very often that I really got to enjoy it. But as I got older and I got more freedom, or I say enjoyed it.
No, it's enjoyable.
It's true.
Okay. Well, just
call it what it is.
No. Okay. So as I got older, I could go out and I could go to we used to have a thing called video stores. I'm not sure if you guys remember, but you could go to these video stores. You could find one that was like a privately owned store, and you could go in and get these videos. Now I was on my own. I could go get them, and I could rent them, and I could go do certain things. Well, so, but it always kind of stayed with me. Like, okay, so when I was young, it happened. Let's just say it happened 5 times a year that I came across it.
Mm-hmm.
So my habit was about five times a year, 6 times a year, whatever that amount was. Like even as an adult, as I grew, I don't feel like, some people will, when they go to college, they'll drink alcohol, right? And a small percentage of those become alcoholics. The rest of them kind of, can fight it, or they still may have a drink here and there, but it's really it doesn't grip
it's
them.
under control.
It doesn't grip them. Well, that's kind of how I feel about my pornography. Where I'm at today is that I never really got gripped by it, but I'll still dive in sometimes. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It doesn't make it any better. It doesn't make it doesn't make anything. So for me, and once and now it's just easier. Now it's just easier to do, and I could really get caught up in it. I could really let myself get caught up in it, and sometimes I do, and I have to fix it. I have to fix it fairly quickly, and I usually do. I'm a really busy person, so what I'm saying is I can tell with me and Des the things that it's affected in the past, because there's been times when she's caught me or she's asked me, and when she asked me, I'm always like, yeah, I was doing it. I'm not a very hideful person. I think
he's very honest. If I tell him, he's just going to be like, yeah, my bad.
I'm just like, yeah, I was doing it.
He doesn't lie about it.
No,
any of it.
I'm usually pretty honest about it, mainly because I am the worst sneak you'll ever find in your life, and I just learned at an early age that I'm going to get caught no matter what I do. I'm just going to be honest about everything I do, and if you don't like it, you don't have to hang out with me, or you can spank me or whatever.
Boy, that's good. That's worked.
Really, seriously,
it's actually a good thing because
seriously.
I'm sorry. That was funny.
Okay, so
anyway, you can spank me. I'm like, oh God.
Yeah, like as a kid, when I was a kid, and my parents would catch me doing something.
No pun, right? No puns.
My dad would say, "Would you rather have a spanking, or would you rather do this?"
You don't get it.
It's going right over his.
It's still
I'm lost. I'm in my own world.
So let me ask you this. So I'm very, very strict with boundaries for me
Super
personally.
strict.
Right.
I didn't put them on you. Because I think that's something the audience needs to know. I didn't nag you and say, you need the. You did this all on your own.
Because I, pornography will suck me in, and I don't want it to suck me in.
Mm-hmm.
It's never been a good thing.
Right.
Even in the secular world, we're kind of talking Christianity stuff here. Even in the secular world, you can go Google, how does pornography affect people? I mean, anywhere from a brain scientist to
Don't do that, by the
blah,
way.
blah, blah, so forth, so on.
Yeah.
It's just not good. It's not good. It doesn't. It has bad results for everybody, and I'm taking it outside of the Christian world. You put it into the Christian world, and obviously everybody knows what the Bible says about it.
Right.
And you also see what you alluded to was how does it affect our relationship? It just destroys that which God put together.
Right.
It destroys it. It takes away the desire that you might have for your wife. It takes away. It's a negative, right? It's a negative.
It is.
So boundary-wise, I'm so strict on myself so that it's like you kind of alluded to when we were kids, you know, you had to ride your bike 7 miles to the liquor store where you might have a chance to go get some dirty magazine, as they called them back then.
Right.
And today it's just on your phone.
Yeah.
So I have restrictions on my phone. I have restrictions on my computer. I don't do Instagram. I don't do all these things because for me, my strength level, I'm just like, you're just too weak, Mike. Sorry, man. You are who you are. So I'm going to just accept it. And I'm not going to follow. I'm not going to have those accounts. I grew up without anything like that, right?
Yeah.
You want to read? Read a magazine. Go to the bookstore, whatever. So I can deal with that because I know the damage that it does. And so I have to set up these boundaries. So I'll be like wanting to look up something on my phone.
For Home Depot. Remember that?
Home Depot.
Really?
Whatever I put in, it's like restricted. She has to put a 4 code thing in my phone. I'm on Home Depot wanting to look up.
I mean, who knows?
Probably a sexual term in that world.
Right.
I don't know, but it's
Like
a Home
nuts
Depot
and bolts
product.
or something.
It's a Home Depot. Yeah.
Nuts and bolts.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's amazing what I can't look up sometimes, and it's a pain in the butt. But I know what the alternative is. That's a big word. Alternative.
Alternative is.
Yes.
Alternative.
And so I have to set these boundaries up. So for people listening, go overboard if you can't find a way out.
Right.
Go overboard in your boundaries to where, like, I'm super strict and I have to be super strict.
Right.
And even in the olden days of the airlines, now porn is so available to you in your computer and your phone that hotels don't even a lot of times even have those channels anymore because they used to make money on those channels.
Yeah, I remember
and
that.
So now they don't even have it accessible, which is a good thing because it's not even accessible via whatever. But I remember layovers. I'd call down to the front desk and I'd say, turn off the porn channel because there were a couple minutes free before they start charging you.
Right.
And so I have to set up these big boundaries.
Well, that's I was getting to what I was going to talk about was it's so in my opinion or in my life, it's the equivalent of men understanding a woman's menstrual cycle versus a woman understanding a woman's menstrual cycle. So the difference on how men think about porn is so different to the way women think that I don't think can really ever understand it totally. And I don't think men can never really understand the difference as well for the women. So I think women tend to, I don't know, for lack of a better word, freak out over it for a man versus a man knows more or less what's going on. So for instance, so I have 3 boys. And, we deal with that on a regular basis. We deal with, porn, checking their phones, looking at, making sure, just trying to, but at the same time, let them understand that this is part of everyday life for them as a man. And we need to put things in place what you put in place for you will work for probably most people, I would think.
Yeah, because it's difficult to access.
Right.
And that's what you want to do.
Right. And then some people that, they might have a different, basically what I try to do is I try to help my kids have an awareness of it and awareness of, hey, I'm here, but what do you want? What is it you want out of life? What is it you really want? What do you want? And will this take you further from it, or will it get you closer to it? Mm-hmm. And have an awareness of it, because I can take it away from you all day long as a parent, and I can block you, and I can do all these things. But when you get on your own, if I didn't help you mentally walk through this as a mental game that it is, then you're going to dive right into it. Sure. Probably the chances are you're going to dive into it and you're going to go down this hole that you never even thought really existed because I kept you from it. So trying to keep my kids from failing is not really what I want to do. Sure. I mean, it's what I want to do, but really it's not what I want to do but we have a relationship with our kids where they talk to, we say, hey, what you did this on, we're pretty sure you did this on your phone. What's going on? Oh yeah, I did hear. I think they've kind of taken on the role, but it's a hard. I mean, as a parent, you're just trying to do the best you can, right? I mean, you still don't know that you're doing everything you can. We have things blocked. Right. We don't have things blocked. We have things blocked, and then we're like, okay, we need to teach them how to live with an unblocked phone.
And things just pop up too, and this to me. Des could probably speak to this too. You work with the youth. We used to work with the youth, but I just see things. And, I'm not shaming any young ladies out there. I'm just speaking from experience and looking back to my youth. But, current day, I see, and I'm just going to talk in the Christian world. Because what's out there is just, hey, look at me, whatever, right? But in the Christian world, we are held to a different standard. Young ladies, we are. And, everyone's beautiful. God made us the way he made us, and we're all beautiful and unique. And, men, if you have a really good understanding of how a man works and how God created them, which is visual. He did create them visual. I have a son, I have a husband who's been very honest with me about that. I have brothers, we as women have to be very cognizant of what we put on our bodies, of what we wear and how we display ourselves. Because you could say you're a Christian all day long, but again, it's how are you living it? How are you displaying it?
How are you presenting?
And for these young men that are in high school, college,
adults.
Older men, adults.
I know.
They see some 16-year-old that all look like they're 25 now coming into church, and they love the Lord, but I'm seeing cleavage on Sundays. I'm seeing cleavage. I'm seeing things that I'm like, whoa, I think that looks good. That's attractive. What do you think the other men and the boys are thinking? Now, you might everyone has a different reason for why they dress that way, but whether it's attention or whatever, but you have to know as a young woman that your value doesn't come from that. It shouldn't come from that. It should come from how Jesus, how our Father sees us. And honestly, I can't tell you, young ladies, enough how many guys in their 20s and even younger have said, and even I'll give the example of my son with his sister. We have a daughter. We think she's beautiful inside and out, and she dresses sharp, she's hip, and very modest. And my son and even some of his friends have said, why can't some of these Christian girls, they're beautiful, like Jade. Why can't they be modest like that? Like, that looks good and I'm going to stare at it, but I don't want to marry that. Right. And my son has not gone out with certain girls because of what he has seen them portray on Instagram and how they look.
I can see that.
Right. And I've actually in the past have said to him, honey, I know that they're a real solid Christian girl and I don't know why they, I hate that they display that. He just won't even go out with them. And so young ladies, if you think that's what's going to draw in a guy, yeah, it will, but it's going to draw in the wrong guy, not the guy you want that's going to cherish and adore you through how you look your whole life, whatever. And so just be aware of that. Be aware of that and know that your value is so much more than this physical thing that these guys are going to be attracted to.
Yeah.
That is not forever. I mean,
I think there needs to be the point. I want to make the point again if I haven't already, and that is, pornography is going to have the hot, attractive girl that is this, that, and the other, skinny, blah, 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 so forth, so on. But the attractiveness to porn is more the actions that you're fantasizing with.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily that she's just so attractive.
Right.
And that's what he's making that point right there. That's
Yeah,
what
that's a
the
great
young
point.
girls
True.
need to understand
Right, they
is,
think- yes.
I have to look like this in order for someone to like me.
Right.
No, that's
No,
not.
they're
This is
fantasy.
the Hollywood of they're going to get the, perfect girl
Mm-hmm.
to be in this fantasy world
Mhm.
instead of not.
Yeah.
So you're
And the
saying,
fantasy is what the attraction is.
Okay.
It's not. That's
The
why
look.
it's a mental. Yeah, the look is a bonus. It's like if I said to him, do you want to go drive a car that has 1,000 horsepower and rip around town and it's it looks trashy? Or do you want to drive a beautiful car that has 50 horsepower? He'd be like, I want the 1,000. But now if you make this car super pretty, that's just icing on the cake.
Mhm.
But
Oh,
I
that's a
want
good
what this
analogy.
has.
Yeah.
I want what this will do, what this will
Right.
have. And so that's what that porn
That's good.
attractive is.
Well,
Yeah.
Let me say something about my upbringing in this, okay?
Yeah.
Because my dad was my family was fairly open, even though I didn't know a lot of things that were about stuff like this. We were very open. Probably have to be when have 3 boys, but I remember one time. It's a kind of a funny story, but I'm gonna tell a story that
Okay.
happened to me with my dad, and I've even had moments like this with our kids, and she just thinks it's hilarious, but kind of awkward at the same time,
All right.
So,
Uh-oh.
so one time I was probably about 10 years old, and me and my dad were on a road trip going somewhere. Don't remember. And he goes into this truck stop. When he goes into this truck stop, there's a girl behind the counter that has a big slit in her pants. Comes up and you can see her underwear, and you can see a little bow on her underwear or whatever. And my dad goes in there and he's like, "Hey, you got a rip in your pants right there." And she's like, yeah. I mean, we're just like that. And she's like, "Yeah, I do that because all the truckers come in here. They give me a lot of attention, and it just kind of gets some business going, yada, yada, yada." And my dad's like, "Well, that's crazy. That's crazy." He said, "I tell you what." He said, "I got a 10-year-old in there in the car." And he said, "If I send him in here, will you just get up on that counter and just do your thing?" Okay, this
Whack.
Okay, this is whack.
No.
This is whack. Okay, I'm
This
gonna tell you,
is Mr.
this is whack,
Estes?
and I'm not suggesting this, but
Oh my
although it
gosh.
did teach me a little something.
Can't wait
And
to hear that.
So I go
This is
into this. I go into this. I'm about 10 years old. I go in because he's like, "Hey, I forgot my thing. Go in there and get it." So I go in there. I get it. I turn around to the counter, and she's up on the counter, but not doing anything real. I mean, I'm 10 years old. She's
Right.
not like,
Right.
it's nothing like
She's not doing like
illegal or nothing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But
Oh my God.
but she's just not hiding herself. So I turn around, and when I turn around, she's sitting there, and I'm just like, and I'm trying to keep my eyes on her eyes, and I'm just like, and immediately I'm like, this is what is happening right now. So I look out the door, and my dad is sitting there in the car, and he's going, like he's just dying laughing at me because he knew how uncomfortable it made me and all these things. So he was playing a
Trick.
a trick on me. So I went back to the car, and I'm like, he's dying laughing, and I start laughing too because I just know it was a funny situation for him more than it was for me. And so we're laughing about it, and I'm like, "Dad, I didn't know what to do. It took me by surprise, yada, yada, yada." He said, "Son," he said, "here's the deal." He said, God gave you the desire of a man is to feel the sexual things that it makes you feel. God gave you that. That is natural. That was unnatural. He's like, that was an unnatural version of it. But God gave you that. Mm-hmm. He's like, so that there's nothing wrong with the way you felt.
Right.
Like there's nothing wrong with the way you felt in that process, because that's a God-given thing. He said, and she's doing that because she wants you to look. Mm-hmm. He was like, they're going to do that because they want you to look. And then he's like, and he said, so if they're dressed like that, he was like, and you look and you see it and you feel the way you do, he's like, God gave you that. Now you have to be a good steward of what he gave you and use it in a way to, and he went on with this whole of not to be ashamed of certain things you feel and do when you see.
It's just what you do with it.
It's what you do with it. It's what you do. It's like a
great point.
It's like a gun, I guess. A gun's not bad in itself.
It's what you do with it.
It's what you do with the gun.
Yeah.
So anyway, we had a similar situation with our boys, and I was like, well, that's why she dressed that. I mean, she dressed that way.
Oh my gosh. I mean, embarrassed. Like, we go into a store and her cleavage is all hanging out, and I'm like over here like,
right.
Don't look. Like,
yeah, so
I'm trying to, and Paul, and she's as close to me as you are. Okay. And Paul's like, look. Boys, just look. That's why she wore what she wore, because she wants you to look. So just look. And I'm like,
man, you were going right back to that truck stop at 10 years old.
I was.
Exactly.
You know what? I'm going to use this as a teaching experience, like my dad did. To
go, my God.
Like, hey, let's just, come on, let's
check them out.
You want to be this way in front of little
this
kids
is not parenting advice.
Let's get you. Let's make you embarrassed. Kind of in a way too.
Hilarious.
Like, let's show you what's really going on.
I was embarrassed.
It makes me think about a real quick story here. Is that I try to set boundaries, and of course, I'm trying to set boundaries with my kids, right? Yeah. So I take my son. We're driving down towards the mall down on 41, and I'm like, that place looks good. I don't know what it is. It's called Twin Peaks.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So we go inside to eat. This is why it's called Twin Peaks. This is the competitor to Hooters.
Yeah.
I just thought it was it's like a Montana outdoor steaks, potatoes. Yeah. It's Twin Peaks.
Yeah.
Like, this is good. Found out real quick what that was about. And the point is, it's in your face all the time.
Right.
It's in your face all the time. Right. You set these boundaries up. Mm-hmm. It's all you can do. Right. It's all you can do, because if you don't set the boundaries up, it's a tractor beam. It's going to pull you.
Exactly. And you can set boundaries, and then you send your kid to school with another kid that doesn't have any boundaries. Uh-huh. And then, I recall an instance where we were at a football game, and the kids like to hang out kind of under the bleachers. I know that sounds like so taboo, but it's not like behind the scenes. It's paved, and there's people that are walking there. But that's kind of where the kids hang. And I remember Bowen coming up to me and telling me, like, I could tell that something happened on his face. And he came back to sitting where we were sitting, and I was like, what's up? And he was like, some guy just turned his phone towards me and showed me, pornography on the phone. And he was like, I don't even know what am I doing right now? And so, in that moment with him, I'm like, okay, well, let's not go back over there. Let's not hang out with this. And it wasn't even a friend. It's just somebody that's just, that's just down there, like showing it to all the bros, Yeah. And, when I go back and talk to him about it, I'm like, look, you're going to have stuff thrown in your face all the time. There's not the sin in that stuff that's being thrown in your face. The sin happens when you continue to go back to it. Yeah. When you're continue to be drawn back to it, because you're going to see it. It's going to be there. Okay.
But there's a disconnect though, because the shame that the world makes you feel for feeling the way that God created you is what makes it where people don't want to even talk about it, because they feel like it's so shameful that people, it's so less to discuss. So I want my kids to know. I want my kids to know that the way you feel when you see that,
God created that. Yeah.
God created that.
Yep.
Now
it's just meant for your wife,
right? And I think my dad did the same with me, and I think it helped me in a lot of ways, because, and I can sit here and talk about, like, I'll talk about it in front of people about me and her having, we were like, I wanted to say,
God,
but But I can
pull back.
But I can say that in front of a young person that's not married or somebody. You know what? Because that's glorious. That's glorious.
He designed it, for crying out loud. He designed this thing.
We're married. I want people to see how awesome it is when you're married. So if nobody's talking about it because deep down everybody's ashamed.
Totally.
Then
it's where the focus is.
Yeah,
where do you focus
your kids
it?
love it. I loved it when my parents did it.
Yeah.
Not it, but when they talked about it. When I'd come in there, my dad would, he wouldn't like in an inappropriate way, but he would, peach my mom's butt or whatever.
Sometimes I feel like you're a loose cannon.
He is.
And I'm not quite sure what you're going to say.
I thought it was Des. It's Paul.
I will.
Yeah.
We used to tell our kids that as they got older. We'd flat out say, hey, sex is great, guys.
Yeah.
Sex is great. God created sex.
I think
Does it feel good? Yeah, all the things with it.
Yeah.
But within what he would like it to be.
The boundary.
We've been married 34 years almost.
Mm-hmm.
And they know our story. We'd say, look, the sex I had before marriage with your dad and not with your dad to now being married to one person for that many years. I mean, it's like God, because God's in it.
It's a magical
better
thing.
than it ever was when we were 20s.
Right.
Yep.
So it's like,
Never gets
trust
old.
God's process.
Yep. Never gets old. It's
Right.
just as great. Blah, blah, blah. It's just the way God designed it. When you're focusing on the way
It
it's
shocks
supposed
us.
to be
Right.
and you do it the right way,
Right.
Yeah.
then it gives you all the desires of your heart.
Yeah.
It does.
What were you going to say, Des?
I think that what I like to touch on when it comes to pornography, and I know that my perspective is different because I'm a woman and I'm a mom to 3 boys. But, I just believe that there can be deliverance from that. Like Paul will say every man struggles with it. And I'm like,
Well, it's more like what you were talking about.
every man
It's a
struggle with
cancer,
it because
but
like in my mind, like I look at the
dormant.
Lord Jesus and I'm like, there is deliverance for this.
There is.
If you consecrate your life, I believe that there's deliverance. And I just believe that because God's word says that he is the deliverer. So I like to think and believe that this won't be something that my kids are going to struggle with forever. Like, and I'm not even accepting that. Like, I'm claiming that this is not going to be a sin that they are entangled with and ensnared in forever. I just cancel that in Jesus' name. I just don't even, I'm not even claiming that for them. So I like to think on a different level of, okay, yes, put boundaries in place. Yes, all of that. But I'm petitioning, Lord, deliver my kids from this.
Right.
Let this not be the stumbling block, right? When your word says that you command your angels to stand charge over my boys, and you say that you're holding their arms up and that you won't even let their foot hit a stone. That to me, I'm like, that is a stone.
Yeah.
Don't let their foot hit the stone. And so I'm claiming those things. And I know, and I don't struggle with pornography myself. So I understand it differently, but I am claiming God's word over my boys. And I'm claiming that when they are not walking in step with the Holy Spirit, that they're so uncomfortable that they can't even do these things.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that's what I want for my kids.
For sure.
So I understand a head knowledge what Paul is saying because I'm not in that space. I don't experience those things, but I know and believe as sure as I'm sitting here in the power of God's word and the Holy Spirit and the delivering power of Jesus Christ that I believe it for my kids.
Right.
And I've seen it and heard testimonies of the way that he's delivered people from all kinds of things.
Sure.
Why couldn't he deliver them from this?
Sure. Right.
So I just canceled the territory that the enemy thinks he's going to have in the
Well,
lives
and
of my
that's what we
boys.
should do.
Yeah.
So that's where I am.
Right.
Like he's over here like, oh, all this is normal.
I know. It
and
sounds like I'm making light of it.
No, and I don't think that
But
that's
I'm
what he's
not.
doing.
It's more like
I'm like on the
practical.
front line. That's how I feel. Like I view myself as like this.
Yeah.
I'm like this warrior woman who is standing on the battlefield before my kids. Like this is how I see myself. Like I'm like with the angel of armies behind me.
Yep.
And I'm just like, no.
Try it.
You
That's
think you're
right.
coming for the Estes and you're not.
Right.
Because
Right.
you got to go through me and you're not going through me.
Yeah. No,
Because
I hear you.
I am just that's how I
Right.
feel. Like when these things start coming or when these these things start attacking my kids, like I want to panic. And then I feel like the Holy Spirit just goes, no, ma'am, you're not panicking. You've got me.
Yep.
You've got my word. You've got the sword. You can wield that sword around, and it is never returning void. It's always going to produce what I have sent it out and purposed it for. And I believe that and claim that as sure as I sit here over Bowen, Judson, and Nash.
That is how we should live our lives with everything, honestly.
Yep. That's how we should live our lives. Because
it's not a defeatist attitude. It's you've already claimed victory because God says we do have victory.
Yeah.
So why don't we live in it like that?
That is right. And I think that we forget the authority that we have in Jesus. And I think that, and if we could know and understand the authority that we have in Jesus, that there is no battle that he is a loser in, period. None. So I just, I'm going to stand there.
Yeah, I love that.
Again, it's more blanketed. That's kind of where I am. He's more nuanced into the detail, but I'm just like,
okay.
And
I think we understand that about each other, whereas she's the, and that's makes her more attractive to me,
Sure.
Being that way, that's the way I believe too at the same time. But
I'm so glad my boys have Paul. I'll just say that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm so glad that they have
I'm not
Paul.
trying to make excuses. I'm just
Well,
I didn't mean to make it sound that way at all.
I know.
Like I wasn't thinking that that's what you were doing.
Right.
I wasn't thinking that.
Right.
And I think we've learned as a married couple how to dance that dance a little better than when we first, because at first it was like I'm ruining our kids, and where we just weren't, we didn't do things the exact same.
The biggest thing, and we have to finish up here, is this openness that we're having right now is just so refreshing. It's like putting it out into the light. And
it's necessary.
It's necessary to talk about this stuff. I would like to talk more about it because you make me think of other thoughts that I want to talk about. But for now, we're just going to have to finish up because we've run out of time. So
it's okay.
For real, run out of time.
We've really run out of time. We've run out of gas. And we got to land this jet.
We're going to Cuba.
That's right.
Let's go somewhere.
So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you next time.
Much, you guys, for your honesty too. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank y'all for having us.
Yep. Thank y'all.
All right.
The second gift.